Welcome to another Fast Tips video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Ross. Today we're continuing on with our association database. This is part 2. We're going to continue laying out our tables, and we're going to start laying out the forms. All right, so continuing on with laying out our tables, we've got our helper table. We'll put that over there. And these are the ones we forgot about earlier, so let's make room for them. We have events, our event table. This is going to be, certain events you got coming up for the church, the organization, whatever, right? You have an event type ID, which that can come over here, right? Event type. And then we've got a description. You could do start date, end date if you want to, or just a single date, kind of up to you. Some events can be multi-day, like if you have a conference. Some are just a single day, like if you're hosting a wedding or whatever. So I'm going to put start date and end date. A location. And again, you could have a separate location table if you want to. Now, whether you want to make a separate location table that's got a full list of addresses and all that stuff, that's up to you. I'm just going to put it in the helper table for now. North Campus, South Campus, Main Street office, that kind of stuff. I think that works just fine in the helper table for now. Again, you can always expand these things later. And that's probably enough for attendance, or events. I'm looking at the next one, which is attendance. So attendance is basically going to be a junction table with a many-to-many relationship between people, the person table, and the event table. All right, so we're going to have the attendance. Is it attendance or attendance? I got to always look that up spell check wise. It's attendance. I got to remember that. You dance at the attendance. Attendance to the dance. I guess because I say it attendance, right? Attendance. It's attendance. Okay. I like to pride myself on my spelling and my grammar. So, even though if you get an email from me, it might not have the best spelling and grammar because I use voice dictation for everything. We all know how that is on our phones and stuff. Okay, so this will have a person ID in it and an event ID. And then it's up to you if you want to have any other information in here, like if you charge for these things, how much has been paid, all that kind of stuff. Anything related to that instance of the person at that event. Like if you charge for most of your events, right, is paid, that kind of stuff. I'm just going to leave this blank for now. Maybe we'll fill this in with some more details later, like a status or whatever. All right, but events. All right, let's color this in. Where'd it go? Let's make these. Let's do green for attendance and events. Let's do like that. And these can be a little wider, and these can actually be narrower like that. You can do something like this. Okay. Hold these guys. And yes, this is something that I actually do when I sit down and plan out a new database. All right, so that's that. Our donation table. Okay, we got donations that we accept. Person ID. The amount. The fund that it's going into. And again, your fund can be over here. Like I know a lot of churches will have like a building fund. They'll have a tithe. They'll have, whatever other fund you got to, send the kids to camp fund, whatever. If they want to donate to a specific fund, or you can have just a general fund, whatever you want to do. And of course, on all of these, don't forget your notes, your date created, that kind of stuff. If you want to have the, payment info in here, that's fine. You can make that a, or let's do a payment type ID. All right, and that again can be a helper type table field. Is it, cash, check, whatever. If you want to have payment details in here, that's fine. If you want to actually store credit card number or whatever, I know if you're doing membership fees and you're storing their credit card information, you can put those fields in here. The credit card number, expiration date, that kind of stuff. Of course, check with your regulations for whatever state or country you're in as far as the rules and laws of storing credit card information. All right, so donations. Should have made donations green, huh? We'll do yellow for that. Okay. All right, now the contact table and the order table, I'm just going to sit here because we already have those built. Let's properly color this stuff over here. And based on the feedback that I've gotten from a lot of you guys since part 1 came out, a lot of people want to see some kind of like life event thing. I did this in my genealogy database. And a life event is something like, baptism, wedding, funeral. You can also do them for any kind of regular events too, like initiation date or the date they graduated or whatever. Any kind of event that's tied to the person, but not like an association event. It's a person's event. So I'm going to call this a timeline. Let's call this the timeline T. This will be for a person. So it's going to be a person ID, then a timeline type ID, and guess what? That'll be a list that you'll keep over here, right? Funerals, weddings, communions, those kinds of things, right? Start date, and again an end date, because you could have like married, a marriage or whatever, something that's like got a start and end date. Baptisms, funerals, all that kind of stuff. So that'll be a person's timeline of events. All right, we'll store that. We'll keep that red. Okay. And I almost forgot membership types, right? Membership T. What kind of membership they have? All right, a person ID. Membership type ID. Now this is not going to be in the helper table. We're going to have a start date and then due date. When is their membership due? Okay, and again, you might not be charging dues for it. That's fine. And we'll define membership types down here. Membership type T, right? Membership type ID. We're going to have the description, the normal dues, and then we'll have a frequency ID. And the frequency can be over here. That's fine. That frequency is going to be like daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual, whatever. That's just going to be a list of frequency types. And, even if you're not, even if you don't have like paid membership types, you could still use this for different, groups or clubs or organizations within your association. All right, let's color these up here. Let's do these we're running out of standard colors here, aren't we? Let's go back to gray here. How's gray look? Okay. These are kind of, so we'll do that. Okay. Color these. All right. So you can see the helper table is going to keep us from having to make 1, 2, 3, 4, how many tables here? 12 extra tables. No sense in all these tables if they're just lists of things, right? Oh, another thing someone emailed me. Let's do an attendance status ID right here. And it might be that, you could have present, absent. You can have left early or came late if you care about tracking all that stuff, as I know a lot of people do. So we'll copy that over here. Okay, try to keep everything looking good. All right. So this will label as our tables. Now, if you want to make another sheet in here and track your forms, all right, you can actually lay them out in here what you want them to look like. Again, for this, I tend to do something like this where I make it look a little bit more like graph paper, right? And then we'll do something like this, maybe that big, right? And then we'll color it in. I try to stick to the same colors that I'm using for tables. So the person T over here, right? Person T. And I don't put every field, I don't lay every field down in here, but what I do is I try to make this show what other tables or subforms it might have. All right, now person's not going to be, actually we don't need that many, we don't need that big of a spot for person. Person's going to be pretty much, it's a simple single form. But we are going to have a family form. Let me just grab this and do this here. We'll copy family. All right, so family will be over here. And I know it looks, you're kind of going, what's this guy doing? You'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, so here's family. And in here, we're going to have a subform for people. Okay, or at least a list box. I haven't decided yet. So we'll do this, and we'll just actually take this like this. And we'll do something like that. Okay. And you can see now how it looks silly what I'm doing, right? But person, 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 person. So, in other words, on our person form, all right, we're going to have a button here for family, or a combo box, or something. And when we click on this, it's going to open up this guy, and it's going to show a form with all the people in it. So I know that's going on. Okay? It's just something simple like this that I do. And you can double click on any one of these people to open up the person record. Demographics is just going to be a simple form. Right? Like I'll put it here. All right, demographics. Okay, that's just going to be another simple, you click on the demographic, and it'll bring him to that little form that pops up. Maybe make it modal, stays on top of this guy. Okay? And also, we'll have a person list form as well. So maybe slide all of this over, right? And we're going to have a person list form. Like I got the customer list form, right, over here. And it's too big. Okay, I get you. Give me a little bit. Copy. Paste. All right. Person list. And yeah, my spreadsheets tend to happen to be messy like this. This is just me, laying stuff out. Need to make more of these. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a quick way to give me an idea what we're doing before we actually start doing it, Okay. Events and attendance. I'm picturing a big event list form. Let me copy. I like to copy it so I get the colors and stuff. Okay, and this will be separate. We'll go over here for this. Okay. This. Event list form. Farmer? What's a farmer? Form. Right? Event 1, event 2, event 3, and so on. And of course, we'll have something on here so we can show all events, show future events only, show closed events. And you can put notes like that on here, right? Show all, future, between dates, whatever you want to do, sort differently. Then we'll have our actual event details, right? Which will have the information about each event. And this will probably, you'll want this bigger. So we'll do this. Because we got more information on here, right? You're gonna have the info over here. And then in here you're gonna have a subform for your attendees. So that's gonna be your attendance table. Right? Boom. You're gonna have your attendees listed here. And let's see if I can get this right. Yeah. There we go. All right. Right? So your attendance list, you click one of these, the attendant details open up. Over here is your list of attendees. These are the people that are attending each event. And you can have sums down here like number of attending, that kind of stuff. You might want to have a max number of attendees. See, this is the part at which you start figuring, I gotta add this, I gotta put that in there. You might have a max number of attendees. All right, so here you come back into your table list, slide this down, right? Max attendees. You might have a minimum attendance, like it's got to have at least 5 people or it's not going to kick off. I used to do that with my training classes. I used to put it right in the schedules too. If we don't get at least 3 people signed up, we're not having this class. There's nothing worse than having a Microsoft Excel or Word or whatever class with 2 people in it, and it's a room that seats like 12, and it's a waste of everyone's time. Well, it's not a waste of their time because they get more one-on-one time, but it was a waste of my time. I'm sorry to say. I used to cancel classes all the time if they only had 1 or 2 people in it. I know, that's bad. All right, so that's attendance and events. The person timeline, you could do this as a subform. I think I'd probably just have this as another form, though. Like here. All right, just like the demographic one. This would be, event 1, event 2, and so on. As just another form that pops up. All right, what else we got? Let's see. Donations, that's easy. Again, that'd be a button from each person to show their donations. I'm thinking memberships, though, you might want that to be a subform on the person's form. That's possible. You know what we'll do? We'll do these as subforms, because now that I'm thinking about this more, I kind of like the fact what I do with my ABCD is I make different subforms that appear inside the person form. I think that might work better. So the family will still be its own separate thing. All right, but we'll make the person table, the person form larger. And let me put that over there. And we're going to make a subform inside of this. It's going to have these different things. It's a trick I do in my ABCD. All right, where you'll have a subform here with different stuff in it. All right, and we'll have little links that'll change what stuff you see. One will be for demographics, one will be for their timeline events, one will be for their donations, and so on. And we'll see those as subform items inside of here, and that'll change. I prefer doing that over tabs, and you'll see what I mean when we get to that. If you're a member, I already covered this in the extended cut for the vehicle maintenance video, where we switch between their maintenance history and their future maintenance. If you're not a member, this will be brand new stuff that I'll be showing you how to swap what subform appears inside of a subform object. And I also show how to build it in my ABCD part 1. We do the same thing here. We got a subform. We have different types of stuff that we can flip between to show in here. The ABCD is basically my good database that I've been building for a while. It's got all the bells and whistles and other tricks and tips and stuff that I know how to throw into it. It's got everything but the kitchen sink. So since we've got, all right, we're going to do demographics as a thing, right? We're going to do timeline as a thing, as a subform in here. We can also flip this around. So you got the event list, right? And you've got each event with its list of attendees. We can go the other way too. And we can show the events that the people are, that each person is signed up for. If you got one person signed up for multiple events, or you've got an event with multiple people. That's why I said before that attendee table is a junction table. It binds together events and people. Okay? If you're not familiar with many-to-many relationships, go watch this video before we get to that lesson. Okay? I do the same thing with people and cars. Because you can have a one-to-many relationship with people and cars if a car is owned by only one person. If you're doing like cars and their owners. But if you've got a situation where you got a fleet of cars and a bunch of employees, and different employees can be assigned to different cars, that's where you have a many-to-many relationship, right? So go watch this if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay? So we can have events as a subform item as well. Okay? So the demographic items will be in here. And the demographic will actually just be a single form that'll be up in there. All right, because you're only going to have one page of demographics, but it'll show up in that little guy, right? Whereas timeline and events, that'll be continuous forms that'll show up in there. Donations, same thing, right? Donations will be in the subform. Okay. And like that. Here, I'll slide everybody else over. Move on over. Ah, come on. Come here. Good little boys. Okay. Now we gotta resize this stuff. We gotta keep making more rows here, or columns. Okay. All right, then we got memberships. Again, same thing. All right? Memberships. And this is why I like to lay this stuff out, because now we're gonna have a membership subform. Okay. M1, M2, M3. And again, that's gonna go inside as a subform. Okay, but we're also going to have to go the other way too, because we've got our memberships, our groups. So we'll put this over here. All right, and in here we're going to have the details, but then we also have to have a subform, right? Member 1, member 2, member 3, and so on, and this will be a list of people inside that form. Okay, so we got family with a list of people, We got events with a list of people. These are all people. I know I got attendee in here, but you get it, right? And then of course we have our order form, which I really didn't draw that on here because we already have that built in the other database. But same thing over here. We got orders, right? Order 1, no, just 1, 2, 3, and so on. And of course contacts. We can put contacts in here, right? 1, 2, 3, and so on. We already have a form like this built, right? If you're familiar with the tech help template, which I told you to watch in the last video, right? We already have a customer form where you can open up contacts as a standalone form, or you can open up customer with contacts, which is a subform. We already have this built. So this guy here is what I'm talking about. We're going to swap that out with different stuff. So across the top, we'll have a bunch of links here. Or my ABCD, I got them on the side, but across the top is fine, right? You click on contacts, donations, what groups are you in, what events are you attending, and this box will swap out. And you'll see how that'll work in an upcoming video. All right, and of course, finally, don't forget our helper table. That's going to be over here. We'll just put you there. That's going to be its own form. Right, stuff. This actually is going to be a little bit more complicated than that. The helper table, the helper form, all right, is going to be, you pick the type ID here, and then, you know, the data shows up below. So you'll pick your list over here, like what list are we working on? Genders? Okay, then your gender list appears down below. Here, I'll slide this over to the left. Okay, so the form will allow you to edit whatever category you're working on at that time. All right, so I think we've got this all laid out. As far as reports goes, I don't usually, honestly, I don't usually relay out on my reports until I'm done with the forms. I tend to get all the data collection and data entry and all that stuff done first. Then I sit down and go, okay, what kind of reports do I need when the database is finished? Unless the whole point of the database is to generate a specific report or two, then you kind of got to mold the data around that report. But I usually find it's easier later on to generate the reports when the data entry is finished. That's just my style. You know, you can do it your way. But I think we've got enough here to give me an idea. I'm glad I did this because after putting this together and seeing how many other related forms we're going to need, I decided it's better to do this subform trick. And then we'll have a couple of other things where we have to go backwards too. So that's good there. We got our tables laid out. If you can think of any other types of tables that I've forgotten or any other forms that I need to put in here, let me know. I think in the next video we know enough to start laying the stuff out actually in Access. Now, I don't remember in the last video, I just kind of rewatched it, but I still don't remember. If I told you that we're going to need a little bit of VBA in here now, we don't need a ton of it. I am going to have some extended cuts planned where for the members, I'm going to be going into some extensive VBA to do some cool tricks. Like if you got an event, clicking a button and it loads all the attendees in automatically. But for the rest of you, if you're not planning on getting the member videos, even for the free videos, we're going to need a little bit of VBA here and there, like that trick that I'm going to show you to swap the subform. That's just one line of code, but you need to know where to put it. So if you've never done any VBA programming before, don't panic. Go watch this video. It's Intro to VBA. It's 20 minutes long. It's free. It'll teach you what you need to know to get started. So when I say, okay, we're going to put one line of code here, you don't panic and you know what I'm doing. So go watch this. Okay? All right, I think we're done with the layout portion, and you see that was less than an hour of laying stuff out. It's if you take that hour or sometimes two and lay out the database ahead of time, you'll save yourself some headaches later on. I came up with a few things that I forgot while we were doing this, even after all my other notes I took. Right? I take copious notes in Notepad. Oh wait, someone's beaming in. All right, so I think in the next lesson, we're going to start laying out our tables and changing some of the ones that I've got that we're going to make some modifications to, like the customer table and things like that. All right, so there you go. There's your fast tip for today. Obviously, any comments you got, any tips, any things you want to see added, any features that you're looking forward to, I want to hear from you. Post something in the comments down below. And the stuff that I think is a good idea and I want to add to it. And if a bunch of you want to see the same thing, I'll add it to the next, to the databases. All right, here we go. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free, and click on the bell icon to select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Make sure you click the Show More link down below the video to find additional resources and links. You'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted, so if you'd like to get an email every time I post a video, click on the link to join my mailing list. Even if you don't want to become a member, feel free to donate to my tip jar. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got puppies to feed. How do you become a member? Click on the Join button below the video. After you click the Join button, you'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks. Silver members and up will get access to all of my extended cut tech help videos, one free beginner class each month, and more. Gold members get access to download all of the sample databases that I build in my tech help videos, plus my code vault, where I keep tons of different functions that I use. You'll also get a higher priority if you decide to submit any tech help questions to me, and you'll get one free expert class each month after you finish the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks, plus even higher priority for tech help questions, access to all of my full beginner courses for every subject, and one free developer class each month after you finish the expert classes. These are the full-length courses found on my website, not just for access too. I also teach Word, Excel, Visual Basic, and lots more. You can now become a Diamond sponsor and have your name or company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown in each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. But don't worry, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more and they'll always be free. Now, if you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access. It's over 4 hours long, and I just updated it for 2021. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll include a link below that you can click on. And also, if you like Level 1, Level 2 is just $1. Yep, that's all, $1, and it's free for all members of my YouTube channel at any level, even supporters. Want to have your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my tech help page on my website. You can send me your question there. While you're on my site, feel free to stop by the Access Forum. Lots of good conversations happening there. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course, YouTube. Once again, my name is Richard Ross. Thank you for watching this Tech Help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something today. I'll see you again soon.